Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back to your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Chainlink, aka Link. And with that being said, let's just dive on in and let's start off with a few things. So the overall market started to erupt today. The global crypto market cap is up about almost 3.5%, which is not much, but altcoins themselves on the last 7-day period has been absolutely insane to watch. Chainlink obviously being the number 2 largest gainer right now, or trending token. It's the number 1 largest gainer, but it's number 2 trending. And again, as we look at Bitcoin, we are nearing our crucial level of 32K, which if you guys have been watching the channel recently, then you know why 32K is very important for us to make a macro higher high in the last major sort of roughly year and a half time frame now. But as we really kind of look at this entire space, altcoins that are showing a lot of strength must be on your watch list. And I keep telling everyone, and I kept telling everyone, that Chainlink was going to wake up in a big way. And we start to see that actually. Chainlink has been one of the biggest winners in the Patreon alongside of Caspa and a few other major tokens as well. But if we actually look at the 7-day span, we could see that Chainlink is up a total 35%, the last 24 hours up almost 8%. And a lot of other tokens are like this as well. We see double-digit figures across the board for a lot of altcoins. And the main reason for this is because Bitcoin is driving the market right now. We need to make sure that we are watching Bitcoin as we really kind of address this market, because guess what? As we really kind of look at Bitcoin itself, like I said, we are nearing that 32K zone while Bitcoin dominance is drastically high. We're talking over 51%. And, you know, I love to see a lot of these altcoins waking up in big ways, including Chainlink, but we aren't yet there in alt season. But that doesn't mean that alts can't run. Link is one that actually woke up early in 2020, which we will go over. But I think everyone needs to understand the money flow chart. The money flow within alt season is money's pouring into Bitcoin. Then from Bitcoin, it's going into Ethereum. And then from Ethereum, it's going into large caps. And then we see alt season. Now, during that time, most altcoins will make new all-time highs. They will have tremendous runs, but there will also be a lot of altcoins that don't have a significant breakout beyond a new all-time high. But Chainlink is one that I kept saying that we will most likely see a new all-time high forming. The best part about Chainlink right now is that it has made a new high on the chart in over 525 days. So in 525 days, Chainlink has now finally created a new high. And that's a big deal. And it's up off of the lows 125%. And if we actually go back here to the DeFi summer of 2020, so it took roughly 378 days for Chainlink to create a new high. But also during this time, you know, a lot of people were saying like, oh, no altcoins are going to run. The market's dead. Like everyone thought that crypto was dead because of March of 2020. But if you were actually aping into some of these coins, then you were going to be very, very fortunate in the coming months ahead. And I even said during this time, as we looked at Chainlink, this whole wave here of it going like this was accumulation on the macro. And you never want to fade macro accumulation because this is one of the strongest indicators that you should be buying in and averaging in on something before it breaks to the upside. And one thing that I was making sure that I was clear about whenever I talked about Chainlink was how big Chainlink was during 2020. If you were around in 2020, then you know how monstrous of a token Chainlink was, and it still is today. It's just that there's still a lot of, you know, FUD around Chainlink and things like that, but it's all nonsense. It's all noise, and it's all coming from different communities. It's ridiculous. But during this time, Chainlink went on to make a roughly 3,000 and almost 600% run up from the lows. As we look at Chainlink today, it's only up about 125%. I mean, if we go off of the lows just to the all-time high, we're talking about roughly almost 971%. This is also why I said, like, Chainlink could very well touch almost $200 on the high end, but I'm still looking at just $100 being targeted from Chainlink, which would be roughly almost a 20x return. Chainlink has been one of the strongest tokens in the space. It is a blue chip. It is one that everyone needs to have on their watch list. You don't have to have it a part of your portfolio, but I do think that everyone should have this one on their watch list. Now, before we start to say, hey, like, now's the time to FOMO in, no, it's not. Listen, we still have a long way to go on Chainlink. First and foremost, one of the biggest levels of resistance was always going to be $11. We need to flip $11 in order for us to flip bullish yet again. Personally speaking, I would actually love to run the lows from February 2022 and break over those. That way we can actually kind of hold this as support like we did during November of 2020 into December of 2020 before the last major move to the upside. So we still have a long way to go here. We still have a few levels that we need to flip before we flip bullish. I wouldn't mind seeing a retest of some resistance anywhere between like $8.75 would be a great level of interest in my opinion. So this whole level here, and let me show it on the screen here. So this whole level here, if we can build support, would be a great level to accumulate even more Chainlink. Again, it all depends on if we are going to run this low as support or if we break down below it. So this is going to be a crucial level for Chainlink in case we do backtest that. If we backtest it, watch for it to hold or watch for it to break. And on the upside, watch for that $11 plus range to be flipped and for us to actually regain some strength there and possibly even build a floor, which would be very bullish for Chainlink. But the main reason why I started talking about Chainlink heavily wasn't just because of its moves during the 2020 timeframe. It's also because of the adoption that's been happening around Chainlink. Remember, Chainlink has already major connections to some of the greatest tokens that we have talked about on this channel. One of those major tokens that we've talked about in the past, like Alliance Block, has been connected with Chainlink in order to bring DeFi and traditional finance together. But that's just one of many tokens. When you actually look at the ecosystem, there's over 1,926 projects and over 2,278 integrations within the Chainlink ecosystem. This is how monstrous Chainlink is. And that's why I say, like, as everyone wants to talk down on Chainlink and talk, you know, stupid FUD, it's ridiculous. Like, fundamentals here are aligned perfectly for Chainlink. And a lot of people bring up the supply ratio. There's only 1 billion max supply. Even if they pushed out the rest of the supply, I would not care. 1 billion is practically nothing in this space if you are talking about something as big as Chainlink. Remember what I've always said, when you look at this space from an overall supply ratio, meaning you only look at the circulating supply, you will fail. There's incredible tokens out there that have 25, 30, 40, 50 billion tokens. A lot of people just avoid these tokens and it just does not make any sense to me. I get it, it's easier to move, you know, tokens that don't have a lot of supply, but that doesn't mean that that's the only thing to justify investing into some of these crypto projects. Like I've said, Chainlink has already done a lot of the work that it needs to in order for us to actually bridge the crypto world to the traditional world. And they are still pushing on with that goal. In fact, if you actually look at the ecosystem outside of just crypto, like these are all the crypto ones, you can actually see a lot of the DeFi projects that are already tied to it, 732. Outside of this, you also have enterprise. Within enterprise, this is where things get very interesting. You have the DTCC here, which is post-trade financial trade services. This is all connected through CCIP. And remember, the DTCC is settling $2.4 quadrillion per year in securities transactions. You also have ANZ, multinational banking and financial services company. And there's so many other ones on here that are incredible players. I keep saying this because I don't think people really understand how big Chainlink is. And also remember, if you hold HBAR, all those HBARbarians out there, Hedera is tied to Chainlink as well. A lot of this is crucial. In order for this space to thrive in the real world, we need interconnectivity. And a lot of people say, oh, what about Quant? Because again, that's a community that hates on Chainlink so much. And again, the Chainlink community also hates on Quant. It makes zero sense to me. They're both serving a purpose. They both have a specific job to do. It's not just going to be one player connects everything. No, that's ridiculous. But I do think that Chainlink has a lot of incredible connections already in place, like the DTCC, Swift, and many other great ones as well. But beyond this, I seriously think that Chainlink has become a dominant force within the space, and it's only going to continue to do so. You could find some of your favorite projects that are already being helped through Chainlink. A lot of the like top tier projects in this space are already connected within the Chainlink ecosystem. And that's how big Chainlink is as a player. And remember what I've always said, like the Web3 space, I look at those solutions that are actually helping the Web3 space thrive and become a reality. For example, the graph, right? We've talked about the graph many times on this channel. I look at the graph as a fundamental piece for the Web3 economy, and Chainlink is one of those pieces as well. And that's what makes Chainlink, in my opinion, a crucial piece in my portfolio, especially if I do believe in the future of Web3 and crypto. But beyond this, right? Like even this article that got posted by Financial Times, and this is actually recent, but we do see in August, this is a quote from the article, this got posted by Chainlink. In August, Swift and Chainlink successfully tested a system that can transfer value from one blockchain to another. And if we actually scroll into this, we can see why haven't financial markets already migrated to a blockchain? So what is holding up the move to blockchain? In large part, it is about regulation, says Treat. Regulations must ensure markets are fair, so they have to approve changes. That slows down how quickly markets can migrate to new infrastructures, especially in securities. Remember, securities is the big one because the DTCC is settling $2.4 quadrillion worth of them. And you know, if we actually look at the DTCC, they have first mover advantage here. And I think that it's great that they're tapping into Chainlink as a major starter. But we also see such as bonds or commodities or stocks where individual investors have already invested a large amount of money. Now, the hurdle also has to do with the liquidity, and it also has to do with transaction cost and things like that. But that's where Chainlink comes into play. Just like Quant, this can allow traditional players to tap into specific blockchains. It's an incredible opportunity. And that's also why I say, like, you know, Chainlink, the way that I look at Quant and the way that I look at Chainlink is serving just traditional players that are outside of like central banks. Quant is more so collaborating with central banks. They're collaborating with the BIS already and things like that. It's kind of similar to like XRP and XLM, how they both are very similar, but they both serve different purposes. I do think that there's a lot of money out there that could very well be served between 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 players. It doesn't have to just be one player. I think that too many people, you know, really kind of box themselves in this space. But again, they do talk about where blockchain has been adopted, and this is where Chainlink comes up in place. So we do see, but several companies, the most prominent of which is Web3 services platform Chainlink, have been developing a software that connects blockchains with external data. Earlier this year, Swift, the global financial messaging platform jointly owned by the largest banks around the world, announced a partnership with Chainlink. In August, Swift and Chainlink successfully tested a system that can transfer value from one blockchain to another, allowing the open but siloed networks to communicate with one another. And again, like, we're starting to already see some major moves happening from the traditional giants like Citigroup and even JP Morgan. Nonetheless, right, like, I don't want to look at this as like competition between two different players in the space. In fact, I actually look at this as an incredible opportunity. Like, we are in this space. Remember this, right? Like, we're even investing into Chainlink before the big moves actually happen. So before Citi or JP Morgan or Swift or anyone else is jumping in on this space, the retail sector for the first time in history has the opportunity to front run those institutions and those major giants. And that is very, very exciting. So with that in mind, as we really kind of look at what's happening and as we look at this space blossom more into a mature position, I do think that Chainlink is going to continue to reign supreme in the top tier list of cryptocurrencies. I also think that as we look at Chainlink right now at number 13, I can see it easily jumping into the top 10. It's very close already. And like I said, this is a blue chip. This is one that everyone needs to be watching closely because it has made tremendous moves in the past. And I still think that it has the opportunity to do that as well today. With 1 billion total supply, I don't see how this thing doesn't reach astronomical heights. I've talked about a few levels that I'm very interested in. Initially speaking, $25 billion is a great market cap spot. We've looked at the past, right? If you actually go over here to coin market cap, you can actually look at historical snapshots and go back to when Chainlink actually topped out, which was right around roughly May of 2021. And if you actually go here on to CoinMarketCap's historical data and you go to May of 2021, May 9th is the closest one. We can actually see where Chainlink ended. It ended up at number 11, so we're actually pretty close already to that position, but it had roughly almost $22 billion market cap, which is why I say like 25 billion is a safe spot for it right now. When we really kind of look at big moves happening, you got to understand that there's going to be a lot more money coming into this space in this next run up than there was in 2021. Also, outside of that, we can't base future moves off of previous moves. We can kind of go off of that and make, estimated guesses, but at the end of the day, we don't know where Chainlink is going to go in value. We just need to make sure that we are taking some profits on the way up to some of these levels. And right now, we really need to watch some levels that we need to break out of in order for Chainlink to remain bullish in this short amount of time. I wouldn't mind seeing a Chainlink retest of some nice lows, backtesting resistance as support, which would be very bullish even on the back side of things. But I'm still expecting Chainlink to really kind of wake up in some big ways. Remember, this has front-runned the altcoin market many times in the past. March of 2020 is a perfect example of that. While during that time, a lot of altcoins were not making huge moves, Chainlink decided to do what it wanted to do. And that's why DeFi tokens like Chainlink and many other ones are great opportunities in the space, and you need to be aware of the strongest movers in the space as well, and Chainlink has always been a strong mover. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, to notifications on because of more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, this has been Nick. Peace out.